What is going on, everybody? It is Alex coming back at you with another video, and today we are going to be doing a mock draft with trades, 3 rounds, 3 days. If you guys are new, would love for you guys to stick around. Love for you guys to join the community. It's always fun to interact with you guys down in the comment section below, as well as in the Discord, so feel free to hop over there because we do stuff like all 22 tape studies and fan mock drafts that you cannot do here on YouTube, except the fan mock part. But, you know, got to add a little bit of extra incentive for you guys. Love to hang out with you guys when I do get those nights free. So, let's get right into this. Let's have some fun. First day of school, so, you know, got that energy pumping. Not really, getting absolutely drained, but we're going to push through this. Number 1 pick, finally, yes, Bears fans, I get to trade your pick. Hallelujah. This is probably going to be for Bryce Young. And teams that fit him, I think the Colts are going to be perfectly fine if they do that. Here's the reason why I think it has to be the Colts. And last time when I did a trade, it wasn't with the Colts. So I wanted to experiment with a non-Colts trade for that reason, but when you do look at this, if another team trades up and let's just say takes Bryce Young at number 1, let's just say he takes CJ Stroud at number 1, the other quarterback's going to go at number 2. So you're pretty much going to be slim pickings with Will Levis at 4, which is what happened last time. I think that it might be worth it to be able to move up and then get your lineman in free agency, etc. So we're moving up with the Colts. You know, same old, same old. You see it in every damn mock draft. Obviously, it's going to take a this year too. I mean, you could technically say we'll go, not a 4. We'll go this year 3, which is technically Washington's, and then we'll give a 1-2 next year. The draft capital for next year is just not going to be that crucial for this mock draft just because, you know, it is what it is. But there is something special from this mock draft, and it actually does pertain to the 2024 first round. I'm going to be continuing this and making a 2024 mock draft from it. So, if you guys like that, it will have the ramifications of this mock draft in it. So just beware. That's exactly what's going to happen. So, the Colts are going to be trading this pick up. Yes, you might say we need an extra year 1. Like, if that makes you happy, cool. It's not going to affect this mock draft. So, whatever. You could toss that in, toss that out. It's not going to affect the mock draft. So, the Colts are probably going to want to keep their second this year just so they can get someone like O'Cyrus Torrence. But pick number 1 is going to be Bryce Young. I think his ability is just on another level. His ability to process is super key. And he's been able to elevate talent around him versus being on an overloaded roster where it's not as translatable. Doesn't mean that it's not possible for CJ to be that awesome. It just says it's just a little bit tougher for it to translate. And at number 2, this is obviously going to be CJ Stroud. They updated the big board, and I swear they're probably only going to limit it to 100 players this time. They didn't. Hallelujah. So, yes, yesterday was the trade deadline, or the declaration deadline, so it's nice to see that they have all these dudes in here. Finally. It's about damn time. This is going to be Jalen Carter. I think that you just have to hit on the best players in the draft. You lost out on J.J. Watt retiring, so getting somebody who's going to be truly special, whether that's Will Anderson or Jalen Carter, is key. I think that this edge class is very deep, so you do have those picks that can be used on that edge rushing position at a player similar in value to Will Anderson. This defensive interior class got so much worse. I'll scroll up so you guys get to see my board. Unfortunately, some of my favorite players decided not to come out, but that's a topic for another day. Pick number 4, the Bears moved back, and yes, you guys get Will Anderson. There you go. Hallelujah. Yalla yalla. Pick number 5, we need to trade out of this pick, and Will Levis is on the board. You can see a team try to trade up and jump the Panthers. I just don't think that he demands that much value, and he could. It's a very thin quarterback class. And if you need someone to start right away, you could definitely do that. But I'm looking at other players that could kind of like, you know, catch the eye, so to speak. And Myles Murphy's one of them. Myles Murphy, I think when you are looking at a team like the Raiders, you could try to make a marginal move up to be able to select him. I'm looking at the Falcons right here. It's Tyree Wilson or Myles Murphy. But a team like the Eagles, you might be stuck in an uncomfortable position. So being able to move up to this spot wouldn't be a bad idea. Here's the issue. I'm not spending 2 first-round picks for this pick. Hell freaking no. It's not worth it. To me, I just don't. It's tough because you can't find a team to trade out at this spot unless it's for Will Levis. And I don't see any team desperate enough to go up for Will Levis. So I think that the value of this pick is actually significantly lower than what people probably try to think of it. And that's just because there's, like, yeah, you have the quarterback tax, but the quarterback I don't necessarily believe is going to be sought out the way that maybe PFF does. So the Eagles are going to send a next year second and a this year third. I think that's perfectly fine. The Seattle Seahawks have enough draft capital this year, and this way you're actually building up draft capital for the future. So being able to have that money down the line is something that made the Eagles as good as they were. So a third round this year and then a second round next year to be able to move up to select Myles Murphy. You know, Howie likes to win deals. I think that's a really big win because you also have New Orleans as second next year. So you aren't losing out on the overall quantity of picks necessarily the way that you would in a different type of trade. Pick number 6. Y'all are going to hate me for this because I naturally always go Joey Porter, and I don't see many other ways that you can go. You can go Brian Breezy here. That's awesome. I don't have him high on my board. I can see that he could be a really good player, but at the same time, I don't understand why taking him at 6 is such a need. I don't understand. I'm not going to force a player that is not that good at number 6. So I'm going to go after a player who I truly believe in, and that is Joey Porter. Eventually, yes, we are going to try to force something else. But for the sake of time, for the sake of this mock draft, I really think Joey Porter is that special. I think he's totally worth taking at number 6. Pick number 7, you know, whether it's Tyree Wilson, Brian Breezy, whether it's going to be a DB, this pick is going to be going defense in my eyes. You could go Peter Skoronski on offense. You could go Will Levis, but I don't think Will Levis fits, so it doesn't really make sense if he goes to a McDaniel system that uses those distributors a lot better than someone like Will Levis who has more of that gunslinging mentality. So for this, I am going to be going after a defensive back. Most likely it's Christian Gonzalez, Keely Ringo, whichever one that you guys want to go after, I think is perfectly fine. There's some stud players, and that is absolutely rude to send my boy Jalen Jones down that far. But I think we're going to stick to the order. We're going to go Christian Gonzalez here. His ability to just absolutely moss a receiver is top tier. And if you are able to refine his game a bit more, definitely somebody who could be a top 5 corner in the NFL. Again, if you refine him properly. Pick number 8, this is Tyree Wilson or Brian Breezy. I think Tyree Wilson is just, you have that instant run stuffing ability, but I kind of want to change it up. So you could definitely see Brian Breezy in this range. I want to see if there's somebody else I'd like to take. This board is absolutely ridiculous, by the way. This is just straight cheeks, in my opinion. It's not a good board, like at all. So I'm fairly disappointed in it. I think defensive interior is a big need and something I'd possibly be willing to reach on. I would potentially be willing to reach with this one. So Brian Breezy is at least in the consideration only because of the fact that like this defensive interior class is so bad. But, you know, Tyree Wilson just feels like it's the match. It does. It's the pick I'm going to go with. Not proud of it, but it is what it is. Pick number 9. So some people want to go Quentin Johnston here. I respect that. If we're not going to go QB here, I might want to trade back and then go after someone like Anthony Richardson. I don't see the value necessarily. Edge rusher, you know, you still have some really good dudes. This is insane. The way they messed up this board is just ridiculous. Oh my God. My favorite player. So Isaiah McGuire's picking up hype, baby. Let's go. I did not see that. That's awesome. But I think this is a good spot to trade back. You do still have Will Levis on the board. I would love to send him to the AFC. And a team like the Jets could certainly be looking for somebody to be able to make that type of move. The Jets aren't necessarily a very attractive free agency market. Just, I don't believe that they're going to be able to pull somebody the way a team like New Orleans necessarily would, or Carolina could. So I'm going to trade back with the Jets. I think the Jets are going to be one of the sneaky guys for a quarterback in this draft. And Will Levis can start day one. And I think that it depends on who the Jets hire for an OC. But it definitely is something that they could be at least intrigued with. Now, you could get an extra third-round pick. I'm going to ask for a future second, and we're going to have to toss in a future fourth. So, equal in the amount of picks. Okay, cool. And we're going to force that through. Again, it's not going to affect these mock drafts. So, it is what it is. The Jets move up and select Will Levis. I just think if you really want to go and secure your guy, it's worth, honestly, sending a future second-round pick for. I think Will Levis does have that potential. I like him quite a bit more than maybe some of you guys do. And it's just totally worth it. It's a novel idea, so definitely something I'd be intrigued with. Pick number 10. So Anthony Richardson, I'm not going to go that way. Brian Breezy, again, this defensive interior class is just so thin, and the upside's incredible. I'm going to trust that Pete Carroll develops him properly. Pick number 11. Peter Skoronski is the perfect fit for this team. Someone who's nasty, obviously from that Midwest, that upper north type of range. So I love that mentality. Kind of want to get you guys an offensive lineman after going Will Levis 1,000 times. So there we go. Pick number 12. So there is the option of going offensive tackle here. I don't want to go a wide receiver every single time. And this is one of those times where I don't want to do that. So I could look at a tackle here in Broderick Jones. I can look at a developmental tackle as well. But you do have both of them on contract for an extra year. So there's not necessarily a need to go after one. That's the tough part. This team's actually very, very good in my eyes. So I wouldn't necessarily think that you have to spend a high pick on really anything but wide receiver here. At the same time, though, I want to change it up. I want to give you guys something new. And with this pick, I think edge rusher is the right way to go. I do. And going purely off my board, I still have Isaiah McGuire here. I'm not going to take him this high. But the next guy I do have is BJ Ojulari, who's going to test out amazingly. He's had amazing production as well. No one's giving him the respect that he deserves. I'm bugging out on where the hell he is listed in here. There he is. So we're going to see that BJ Ojulari takes a major stock up, and he goes at this spot, which honestly would have been probably my pick here at number 13. But at this spot, you could go Anthony Richardson and develop him. You could go Matt Corral and stay with him. This is a nice spot to be because now you can potentially take a swing on a wide receiver. You could take a defensive back. CJ Henderson is like the whole entire reason why you're kind of the laughing stock of the league. Similar to what I did yesterday. Keely Ringo's still on the board. We're going to go Keely Ringo. Pick number 14 for the Patriots. Paris Johnson seems to be the perfect guy for them, a hyper-athletic guy. Someone who has a lot of versatility as well. I think Darnell Wright would be the better move, though. He's played years at left and right tackle. He's a seasoned veteran and somebody who I just have a very big passion for. He looks like he could be developed into something that's truly special. And Bill, he doesn't like to go for the big name brands except for like Isaiah Wynn. But, obviously Cole Strange was a pick last draft. And no one really thought about it. Cole Strange has done a great job this year. Darnell Wright is going to be in that similar category to probably someone where you guys don't know that much about him, but he's going to do a very good job in the NFL if he goes to the right spot. This is one of those. Pick number 15. Quentin Johnston's here. I think that, honestly, to change it up, we're going to be going Quentin Johnston over a DB, over an edge rusher. Does it make 100% sense with Green Bay? No. But honestly, desperate times call for desperate reactions. I forgot what the damn term was. But I digress. Pick number 16. So Paris Johnson's here. I'm going to go with it. Someone who could play tackle in the long run and guard in the short. I don't think there's very much need to look anywhere else at that spot. A very good player with a ton of potential. Pick number 17 for the Steelers. Devon Witherspoon makes sense. A lot of these DBs do. Brian Branch would be super fun to get like another Minka. So to me, you could look at like Jalen Jones. You can look at Cam Smith. I want to show some respect to Devon. Again, I haven't personally watched every single rep of his because there's no All-22 out. And anybody who's not working in a professional organization who's saying that they've watched Devon Witherspoon, just take it with a grain of salt because they have not actually watched his whole reps. They've seen game tape because there's no All-22 readily available to people who are even in that tier above what the public's able to see. So just understand that like this is based off of pure reputation. And then also statistics and, game tape, not based off of, watching the full reps. Pick number 18. So we have drafted Joey Porter to you guys. Now would be a fun time to maybe look at Bijan. You could also look at potential another edge rusher. But I'm just going to double up on defensive back. I don't think it's necessarily super realistic. But at the same time, this team doesn't have very many needs. So I feel very comfortable going after the best player available. Brian Branch has an ungodly amount of talent. So imagine him, Tracy Walker, as well as Kirby Joseph in that backfield. I am going to go ballistic. Then you have Joey Porter and Jeff Okudah. That's a way to build a recipe for success and a roster that can truly make a big run. Pick number 19, Anthony Richardson is where I usually go. But honestly, I think that they want to get, I want to switch it up again just because it makes it fun for me and for you guys. I'm going to go Michael Mayer here. They had a lot of success with Gronkowski coming out of essentially retirement to be there. So being able to get essentially Gronk 2.0 seems to be a good move, especially for whatever quarterback comes in, to have a very reliable target. Pick number 20, Anthony Richardson feels like such a great move here. I went Brian Breezy before. Both these guys are projects, but at the same time, this way, if Anthony Richardson develops, you have a top 15, top 10 quarterback instantly. But if you also don't, the potential's so good, you can trade him away for future picks as well. I think it's a very smart move. I think that you could technically trade back and be able to get someone like Osiris Torrance, but you have enough picks. You don't need to trade back more. So I'm going to go Anthony Richardson here and be able to solidify my quarterback of the future because Geno might not be it. But the thing that we know, Geno is not young. So getting somebody who could at least learn and compete with Drew Lock for a backup job who can become a top tier starter seems to be a good return on your investment. Pick number 21. Sean Payton's probably coming in. I might want to do a trade here. I might do the trade. And I want to make it original. And yes, I mean, Jordan Addison's here. I might have to pull the trigger on Jordan Addison rather than going Sean Payton. But Sean Payton needs to go to a team in this draft. And this might be the team to do it. So let's just say this was a trade before the draft. This is going to be traded with the New Orleans Saints if I could ever find where they are at. There we go. So New Orleans, yeah, sure. You can send that. This is going to be Sean Payton going to the Chargers. So Sean Payton's there. Now, at this spot, what do you do? Jordan Addison's on the board. I'm going to pair him up with Chris Olave, and I'm going to have a field day. So regardless, I think that's the best option for the team. Jordan Addison is an elite level receiver who should have been taken, honestly, much earlier. Pick number 22. There's some good players still on the board. Lucas Van Ness, the fact that he's here is kind of ridiculous. But for the Ravens, and JSN's here, I just can't see myself passing on JSN. I can't. You could trade back, but it doesn't make sense to pass on him. But there's one player who I can, and that's Cam Smith. DB Central, obviously this place is a great job at developing defensive backs, and you're losing Marcus Peters potentially, so it's a good way to get a new face in who has a lot of potential and a great scheme fit. I also want to draft corners later because I always draft them so high in all of them. So, getting a nice little feed into the 20s here. Pick number 23. Oh, some people are going to be calling for a QB. Ain't none of them on the board. So you could look at Bijan here. That is a legitimate option. You are potentially losing out on, you could potentially cut Cook, and then you're also losing Alexander Madison. So I don't think that would be a bad idea. However, I think Jackson Smith and Jigba is a great fit to be able to succeed Adam Thielen and then at least work in the short run as a pure slot. So I love that idea. At least give yourself more firepower. There's never anything wrong with more firepower. Pick number 24 for the Jaguars. I love Anton Harrison on this team. He can play left or right tackle. I'm such a huge fan of him. I want to go offensive line so badly because I do know this class likes to, degrade really quickly. After pretty much right here, there's literally essentially nobody. But when you look at the likes of Anton Harrison, he can play left and right, saves you a lot of money, and it gets you a really good player. And he's 6'5", so he can play guard as well. I just really trust him to have a role on this team, at least for his first, if not second contract. Pick number 25 for the New York Giants. You want to get another Georgia tackle? Put him at guard, you might as well. But I could see a guard being this pick. Trenton Simpson's almost too intriguing to pass on, though. I know this team doesn't fully need somebody of Trenton Simpson's caliber, and there are really good players like Zay Flowers who'd be awesome options on this team. So you could argue against being able to go after somebody like Trenton Simpson. But I love the idea of having a really athletic linebacker behind a very stout defensive front because they are able to make up for a lot of what maybe they don't have going for them there in New York. But pick number 26. I think Bijan's starting to become a more likely option. Zeke just doesn't look like he has the real juice to be a bell cow back. And the Cowboys are so close. Also, it's a way of keeping away from the Eagles, potentially how you're trying to move up again. So for me, I think we're going to test out the Cowboys going Bijan Robinson. Yes, there's good running backs in round 2, but Bijan's going to go somewhere. I don't want to send him to the Bills every time, so being able to send him somewhere else it's a good spot. Holy shit, Broderick Jones is here. No doubt in my mind, you are not going to be passing up on that option. Hell to the nah. Pick number 28. O'Cyrus Torrence seems like a perfect fit for this team. Going offensive line is just the best thing you can do. So I think it's a thing that we do. So there we go. Pick number 28, O'Cyrus Torrence. Pick number 29. Antonio Johnson's the perfect pick for this team. It really is. I can't really say anything else is better. But you could look at Drew Sanders in case you do lose out on Tremaine Edmonds. And there is a legit chance that happens. If you don't succeed and he wants to go after the bag, there's a limited amount of money you can spend on your team. So he's probably going to go to a team maybe like the Steelers where his brother's trying to recruit him. So in this situation, to change it up, I think Drew Sanders is head and shoulders the number one linebacker in the class. Maybe not the same potential as Trenton Simpson, but he's somebody's going to step in, and he's the highest floor linebacker, which I think is perfect for the Bills. Pick number 30. There's way too many dudes who I'd be perfectly fine with on this team to where I'd be willing to move back. But there's still offensive tackles here. And I like Cody Mogg, Matt Bergeron, Blake Freeland. Where's one of my favorite players? Did he decide to go back? Oh my God. Son of a biscuit. I'm looking at Cody Mogg here. And a lot of people are going to love Cody. He's going to be super athletic. He's a mean blocker. I think Blake Freeland might be the better fit, but I don't think you're going to get another shot on a tackle at this point. So we're going to go Cody Mogg to be able to get that 5th-year contract on that offensive tackle. And pick number 31 for the Eagles. We could definitely jump out of this pick as well. We moved up again for Myles Murphy. We could try to regain that draft capital. And looking at who is available, wide receiver-wise, you still have Jalen Hyatt, who's a monster. Jalen Hyatt definitely should be considered as a late first-round prospect, especially according to my board. So you could also look at Antonio Johnson, who is a very versatile defensive back. And looking at teams that could use that, I could so see the Seahawks, because they traded back, getting their value and going Antonio Johnson, getting that third safety and being able to get someone who's an absolute baller. I don't think that there's actually a limited amount of offensive guards available. So Andrew Voorhees might be coveted enough, but I think he's too old to move up at that spot. So I think the best value here is Antonio Johnson. And I think CJ Gardner-Johnson is going to be taken here. So the Seahawks and the Eagles are going to make one more trade. And, they're going back-to-back trades with each other. I think that the Eagles are probably going to want something in that, like you see the 63 to 94, 134 range. They're going to actually want their pick back, and then we'll swap right there. So essentially, the Seattle Seahawks get a 4th-round pick as well as a next year's second to be able to get back and be able to draft some star players. Yes, you still need an edge rusher. This class has plenty of them. But Antonio Johnson, I think that value of that 5th-year contract is just awesome. So being able to do that and be able to lock up a player in a very thin safety class, not a bad option. So that's going to be the video. Thank you guys so much for supporting me as always. See you on the far side. Peace.